This is just an absolutely fantastic race.
So supreme.
Coming down to the line.
Here come Australia. Can they put themselves back on terms now?
Go!
Sharper start from Australia there, getting a few more strokes in early, but also a little bit of trouble steering, just heading back over now to their station early on. But I think they've jumped out early on that crew from Oxford, Brooks and Leander. There we can see that Australian crew really strong, moving in time as they come out of their start sequence.
Just half a length in it to the barrier marker. That's about 600 odd metres from the start. So we're into the second quarter.
I think they've gone through, Matt. It looks like they've moved through the Australians there. This would be a fantastic turn-up for this new British lineup.
Yeah. A little bit of steering from the British crew on the right of our picture, preparing for the final stage. I think just from the indicator I can see they've gained a quarter of a length probably in the last minute or so of this race, and now
unbelievable race here from the Brits. I think on the form book the Australians should have had it easy here, but this British crew from Brooks and Leander have not read that form book, and they look like they are charging again now. Have they left it too late to get back through?
10 strokes to go. The home crowds at their feet in the Stewards enclosure. Finals day at Henley Royal Regatta. Australia, Great Britain. We've seen it before in the Coxless Falls. Leander are going hard. The Australians looking a bit ragged on the line. Who's it going to be? Whoa!
That looked like a dead heat to me, Matt.
Well, we're going to have to look at the photograph. For me, I think the Australians may have it by 10 centimetres, but it's all...
Looks like the Australians got it on the surge.
Need real skill going off the start here in these quads into the headwind. I'm sure we'll see that from the Australian crew, leaving it in really tight to the island. And you can see they're absolutely stroke for stroke. So now it's all about distance per stroke and efficiency, not slowing the boat down in between those strokes. But it's a long, hard race into this headwind, as we've already said. So that efficiency could still pull through for the American crew. I've got to say I'm pretty impressed here that the Australians got out to a length and they seem to have hung in now. Yeah, so Australia looking good as we hear that Go Aussie call coming out. That wasn't Sarah Cook on this occasion, that was someone in the crowd, I think. And they're going to cross the line in front with about a length of clear water ahead of that American crew.
It's the Princess Grace Challenge Cup. Australia and China, away they go.
Yeah, we heard the distinctive yell of the Chinese crew, similar to how they work in their eights as well. They actually shout out the first few strokes. It seems to help them keep in time, and you can see there, look at that crew, how neat they are going off the start, how synchronized they are together, even at that high rate. I think the Australians might have actually come back a little bit now from that slower start. Still pretty much stroke for stroke in terms of the rate. Maybe the Australians just edging it. But we can see again another great display of quality sculling here from this Australian crew.
Very hard to call it technically between these two crews. You can see Tara Rigney sitting at bow, having a glance across. Where are the Chinese? That means they're just slipping out her field of vision as she calls their crew to attack again. You need to really stay on terms, don't you, in this second quarter of the race. And now it's China under pressure with Australia starting to stray towards the booms there. They need to correct that because they don't want to waste any time, as this charge needs to be efficient. It needs to be the final charge from Australia.
That looks treacherously close to those booms there from Australia, and I think that has given China the opportunity to relax back out and hold this off. But here come Australia. Can they put themselves back on terms now?
Top class quad sculling from 8 women at the top of their game coming to Henley Regatta. Here come the Chinese. They've dominated the event, but the Australians really took it to them. Overlap at the finish. That's the closest the Chinese have been chased by anybody.
They're always going to be looking to try and get that early lead if they can. Very controlled first stroke from Australia, setting the crew up a little quicker out, but a long and powerful way of setting up that start now from Australia and building off that. So interesting kind of different techniques coming out the start there. Now that rate is high, and I think Australia is showing more power already coming out of the island. challenging conditions, challenging water, very popularly, plus you have the extra swirl that you get at Henley. So testing the watermanship skills of these crews. But there's a lot of experience here, and perhaps in the Australia crew we see that greater experience starting to pay off for them. We know that Angus Widdicombe and Simon Keenan, they were in the men's 8 that came 6th in Tokyo and want to be part of a project that's rebuilding the Australian 8 to get back into the medals at World Champs level.
Yes, it could be that the Cox has got a problem. Maybe there's a bit of weed that's been caught in the rudder that's making it harder, but it's given the Australians the chance to have, well, command of the race really from the first quarter.
Absolutely. I think, you know, for the Chinese, they're used to being in buoyed lanes, and it feels different at Henley. They came up against a really formidable Australian men's 8 who are here to make it to the final.